Welcome to the session of Form 16, the new Form 16 process, how to be generated from traces. So first is, what is Form 16? Like most of us do know, it is a certificate which is provided by the employer, which gives complete detailed information regarding a salary of an employee during a particular financial year. Okay, this report basically shows how much TDS has been deducted from our salary, and the same amount is paid to the government. And Form 16, like we all know, it is given once after the fourth quarter filing is done. So for salaried employees, especially for salary, after the fourth quarter filing is done, then the Form 16 will be generated and mailed to all the employees respectively. So overall, we can say it's a proof that the employer is giving to the employee, stating that whatever money is deducted as a TDS from our salary and the same is paid to the government, a certificate is being issued from them to us. Okay, so the content in Form 16. In Form 16, basically there are two parts. Since we're talking about salaried employees, there are two parts, Part A and Part B. We will see in depth. Overall, I'll tell you what it is. Part A is basically my tax deduction details and payment details. If I've deducted tax for a particular employee and the same payment has been done to the department, that information will be shown in Part A. So that completes Part A. Then when we say about salary, there's Part B as well. So when Part A says TDS deduction and payment details, Part B, it lists my salary information. What salary details are taken for tax computation? Basically, what it means is all the entries done in the particular financial year. Under tax computation, we enter our salary details. After salary details, we enter income from other sources. Apart from salary, there is house property. There's income from other sources. There's capital gain, business action, and so on. So in Part B, these are the information which I'm declaring, and those informations are entered for my tax computation. So once the information related to salary and other than salary details are entered, that will be generated in Part B. So perk visits also will be included in my Part B. Basically, it is my salary details taken for my tax computation. Okay. So we'll continue. I just told you the content which is there in Form 16, Part A and Part B. We'll also check for the details in Part A. So in details in Part A, there is certain information which is there with me, and we will see what all informations that we can see under Part A. So in Part A, it says that it contains information of both the employer as well as the employee, such as the name displayed for both the employee as well as the employer, the address of both employer as well as the employee. I'll show you with an example. So I'll have already a Part A PDF with me. I'll just click on it and we can see the information which is being displayed. So I'll select it as 125. And you can see it shows the employer details, the employee details, the PAN of the deductor, the TAN of the deductor, and the PAN of the employee as well. And again here, we are stressing the PAN and TAN details. PAN, basically the address, what we are given under PAN, the same address will be displayed in our Form 16 as well. So apart from my employer as well as my employee details, what else information is there? The PAN, the TAN, for which quarter, what is the amount of paid or credited, and what is the tax deducted. So this is the overall information which is being shown in Part A. Like we saw, it contains both employer as well as the employee information, like the name, address, PAN and TAN details. And one more thing which we want to see is the periodicity of the employee. That means for which particular financial year this is being generated. So it's given over here, period with the employer. An employee is working from this particular financial year from April to March. So this information is also being displayed under my Part A. So if I scroll down, apart from our basic details, apart from my tax computation, tax deducted details, it shows my challan identification number as well. And the status you can see, it shows F. Apart from my BSR code, my challan serial number, date on which the tax is deposited, the status which is matching with the old tax, it shows F. That means it is final. Okay, so other status which you can see, it is matching with old task or not, we get U which is unmatched, okay, P which is professional, O is overbooked. So based upon the status given here, you can scroll down to the bottom and you can see for this particular employee, what is the information that has been given. So this was actually the basic details which we have seen under part A, the name, the address, the periodicity of the employee, for which financial year he is working for, the details of tax deducted, like we have seen for a particular quarter, what was the tax deducted from our salary and what was the amount that is paid to the department as well. So basically in part A, these are the informations which has been displayed. So since it is salary, we're not only talking about part A, there is also part B as well. And certain informations are displayed in part B. What are the certain information? I will show you along with an example. I will come back to my generated file here. I'll select one particular employee. Okay. If I scroll down, the first information which is being displayed is my gross salary. Okay. Under that, you can see salary as per provision contained in section 17 of 1. So basically what it means is my basic salary will be displayed first. Apart from that, my standard deductions, okay, from last financial year it was 40,000. Now from this particular financial year onwards, it is 50,000, and my statutory PT. So my salary will be displayed, my standard deduction will be displayed, PT, PF, that will also be displayed. Like we are speaking few minutes earlier, that part B, other than salary, it contains other information as well. What is other information? It is income from any other sources. And mind you, income from any other sources means basically it is the information that the employee has declared to the employee. Okay, it can be income from other sources like commission is there. If the employee is willing to declare this information to the employee, then we can consider this for my tax calculation. Apart from that, if he is declared a house property, if he or she is declared a house property, whether it's an income or a loss, if the employee is declaring it, then we are going to consider it for my tax calculation, or else we are not going to consider it at all. I've given you just one example. It can be house property, it can be business or profession, it can be capital gain, or it can be income from any other sources. So apart from my salary, if there are any other information which the employee is declared and the employer is willing to take this, then this details also will be considered under part B. Next, we speak about chapter 6A deduction. Most of us by default, we know PF will come under our chapter 6A deduction under ATC, our statutory provident fund. By default, that will be displayed. Apart from that, housing loan repayment, the principal amount also can be displayed there. And again, here you can see as declared with proof. Basically what it means, most of us do consider the proof amount as declared as proof, meaning I as an employee will go to an employer. I will tell in this particular financial year, I am doing an investment of 1,50,000 under ATC. I am doing 25,000 under ATD, which is medical insurance for self. I am doing this many declarations, but I have just said it orally. I have not given the proof details. At the end of the financial year, at third quarter, or basically most of us do declare at fourth quarter. Fourth quarter I come, I give my details. So declared on proof amount means if I have declared, I've just told 1,50,000, but the proof amount which I have declared for ATC is only 1 lakh, then only 1 lakh rupees will be considered for my tax calculation. So 1 lakh will be exempted from my salary. If not, if the tail details are not given, we are not going to consider that amount. So until how much the bills are provided to the employer, only till then we are going to consider that for my calculation. If the bills are not provided, then we are not going to consider anything at all. So that point is very important. So please do keep in mind, if the bill is provided by the employee to the employer, then we'll consider those deductions under Chapter 6A deductions. If not, we are not going to consider them. The next is perquisites. It's a certain benefits which is given by the employer to the employee. So most of the employees do take under perquisites like house free accommodation, or if there is any car provided automotive, any car provided from the employer to the employee, that's a benefit which the employer is giving to the employee and the employee is using the benefits. So apart from that, we got gardener, sweeper, okay, club expenses, food expenses. Under perquisites, there are list of perquisites given. If the employee is using any of these perquisites, that can be under part B. Okay, and one more important point is after perquisites, we can see any information, other information like PAN of the landlord or institution. Landlord, the owner, institution is the bank. If my rent detail crosses, if my rent paid details crosses more than 1 lakh a year, then owner PAN is mandatory. If I consider the owner PAN, then the complete rent paid details will be considered under my HRA calculation. Basically, we have 3 steps when we are doing HRA calculation. The first step is if you are in metro cities, 50% of basic plus DA. Second step is rent paid minus 10% of basic plus DA. Last is actual HRA received. So what we do is in those 3 steps, which is the least amount, we minus that with our actual HRA. So if you want the actual rent paid details to be considered, and if it is crossing more than 1 lakh a year, or my rent paid per month is 8,333 rupees per month, then I need to consider my owner's PAN. That is mandatory. And that information must be entered. You need to enter that information. It is mandatory. If the complete information is given, then the amount which they have declared, whether it is 10,000, 15,000 rent per month or 20,000 rent per month, that amount will be considered for my calculation, or else that amount won't be considered. You can tell them the full amount won't be considered because you're not given the owner PAN. If it is below 8,333 per month, then you can continue with the calculation. But if it crosses the certain limit, owner's PAN is mandatory. So we just check the basic details in part B. We will check the details how it is displayed in our part B, from which is provided to us to traces. Again, you can see it's PAN after, TAN of a deductor, PAN of the employee. So we spoke about gross salary, we spoke about salary, and that is what is displayed under gross salary, salary as per provisions contained in section 17 of 1. All right. So apart from this, perquisites for this particular employee, it is not given. So 12BA, we say statement of perquisites. If certain perquisites benefits which is received by the employee from the employer, then that information will be displayed over here. For this particular employee, there's no perquisites given. So like we were discussing in the PPT, like salary was given. After that, 12BA statement of perquisite is given. If it is given, it will be displayed here. House rent details, which comes under section 10 of 13 of A. This particular employee is not declared. If it is declared, it will come over here. Okay. So since he's just declared his salary, the whole year salary is 4,23,275. So since we are talking about our financial year, it is from 18 to 19. You can see, we know for 18 to 19 financial year, a standard deduction of 40,000 has been deducted. So that information is also displayed under fourth, less deduction. You can see standard deduction under section 16 of I of A. This is basically the standard deduction which the department has given. Whatever your income is, when I calculate my per month gross salary into 12, what information I get on that standard deduction of 40,000 will be deducted. Okay, this is from 18-19. From coming years, the later the standard deduction has increased from 40 to 50. But since we're talking about 18-19, we'll continue with that itself. So standard deduction of 40,000 is deducted. After that, you can see under C option, tax on employment under section 16 of I, here it shows 2,400, which is nothing but my professional tax. So 200 per month. So 200 into 12, 2,400 has been deducted. So we're going to add these two, standard deduction as well as my PT, and I'm going to minus this with my salary. And that is what has been shown over here. Okay, so the information is displayed here. And after my deduction, you can see my gross total income is 3,80,875. So like we have seen step by step, first it showed my basic salary, then my standard deduction and my statutory. Okay. Apart from that, under ATC, like I said, Provident Fund, statutory Provident Fund, by default under ATC, it will be displayed. And again, it is they're restricted for 1,800 per month. We have done 1,800 into 12. It is 21,600. And this is being deducted from your salary. So standard deduction of 40,000 is deducted. PT 2,400 has been added, and that has been reduced from your salary. Along with that, we also have PF, which is 21,600, which has also been deducted from your salary, is being shown here. As we scroll down, the deductions have been shown. So what is the total tax that needs to be calculated? We do the slab. Slab is there. Since we are talking about last year, 0 to 2.5 is nil. 2.5 to 5 is 5%. 5 to 10 is 20, and 10 and above is 30. Based upon the slab provided, the taxable income is this much, and this is the total tax which needs to be paid for that income is being displayed here. Along with the total tax on the income, we add health plus education cess, which is 4%, which has been displayed over here. A total tax payable is 5,683 rupees. This must be paid for the entire financial year. Okay, so that information is being displayed over here. All right, so we'll continue. So this was basically about the part B details. So we have seen our part A. It contains my deduction details. Now when I spoke about part B, we were seeing through the PDF. It contained my basic salary, my statutory deduction. If income from any other sources is declared, chapter 6A deduction. Other information like PAN of the landlord institutional, like we discussed. If it crosses a certain limit, then it is compulsory to contain the PAN. Next is tax payable or refundable. Like we saw, what is the total tax which needs to be paid? On that we put health education cess, and we got the total income tax which needs to be paid for the entire financial year. So this was the basic information which we saw in part B, and the information which we also saw in part A. Now we'll see what was the process until the financial year 17-18. What were we doing after my Q4 filing was done? Then next thing what we used to do is we used to go to traces. First thing is we used to request and download for form 16 from traces. From last financial year and before, the procedure was the same. I used to come to traces. I used to request for form 16, and the first screen what used to show is responsible person details, whether he or she is a responsible person, and you want the same details to be printed in your form 16, then click on submit. Once I click on submit, the next page, the same traces page, what it continues was my challan details. It used to show my challan serial number, the BSR code, the amount, along with 3 valid PAN with the total amount deposited. So this was the second sheet which was displayed in my traces. I used to click proceed. Once I click on proceed, the final page what used to come is proceed with transaction. I used to click on proceed with transaction. Then what used to happen? A request was placed for form 16 under traces. So this was basically the procedure what all of us used to follow. So once the request was placed, what we used to do, again 3 hours it takes, or maximum a day time we tell. Again, it depends upon the traces traffic, based upon the number of downloads given by everyone. It might take a few minutes late as well, or a day time, we can say maximum a day time. After a day time, I used to trace this. I used to download that form 16. After downloading it, what I used to do is I used to convert the downloaded file into PDF. And this is whatever we have downloaded was a zip file. Once I go to my downloads, requested downloads, and click on view all, the details, or you can say the files which I have requested for that particular month, will be displayed. So whichever I have clicked for download, I'll select it and click on HTTP download. A zip file will be generated. So I need to convert this zip file into PDF. So what I'll do, I'll use a traces PDF converter utility. I'll browse the zip file. I'll click on traces PDF converter utility. I'll browse where the zip file is. I'll give the password. Password is basically my TAN number, company's TAN number, all in capital letters, and the path where I need to convert this zip file into PDF and where it should be stored. So once these three information is given, once I click on convert, the zip file will be converted into the PDF. So what do? We only get part A information from traces. Let's discussing part A is my tax deducted details. Okay, and basic information which we have seen earlier. So once the part A is converted, we have kept that part A, we have kept it in a separate folder. Now what we need to do, since part A is already given by traces, next what we used to do, we used to merge part B. Part B was default, whatever information I have entered under my tax computation. At the third quarter and our fourth quarter, I have entered all the information, whether it is salary, perk visits, deductions, my investments, I have entered everything. That information is generated from the software. So what I used to do is, after converting part A, whichever traces data has given us, and part B, which is the software details, I was going to merge these two, part A and part B. Once the merging was done, we used to send the same to the employees. We used to mail the employees saying that part A details are from traces and part B details are your salary details, which we had entered under our tax computation. So we used to merge these two and we used to send the same to the employees as well. From 17-18 financial year and before as well, this was a process which most of us followed. So now we will see what are the changes that has happened. So 17-18, we knew from 17-18 before, this was a procedure which we used to do, download, merge, and send the complete form 16 to the employees. But this particular financial year onwards, from 18-19 financial year onwards, the process has changed. The procedure remains the same. I used to request and download from traces. Same thing, responsible person page, click on submit, then comes our challan details, proceed, then last is proceed with transaction. So what needs to be done? Once the request is placed from the traces, I'll just request for form 16. I'll give the form as form 24Q quarter 4. The PRN number will be displayed. I'll click on request and I'll request for download. Then after a day's time, I'll come back to the traces and I will see two files will be there. I'm talking about part A as well as part B. Only one request is placed. If I place one request from traces and the request is received by the traces, by a day time you can go back to your downloads, requested downloads, and you can see both part A and part B will be available, which I'll be showing it to you as we proceed. Okay, so what needs to be done, I'll just show it to you. Since I've already placed a request, I'll show you with a live example. Since the request is already placed, I'll go to traces. I'll just click on dashboard and I'll log in. The request procedure is the same, not a problem. The procedure remains the same. It's 7WK. Okay, you can go to downloads and you can click on requested downloads. Under that, if you click on view all, you can see bulk form 16 part A is there, bulk form 16 part B is there. The request remains the same. I'll just show you how the request goes. I'll select form 16, just a single request, 24Q. I'll say quarter 4. After quarter 4 itself, filing is done. Then I can place the request. I'll click on yes. Okay, it'll bring me back to my traces website. It'll ask my user ID and password. That is fetched automatically. The captcha is entered. Okay, since I'm coming to the software, the details are fetched automatically. Okay, this is the authorized person details. You can see if he or she is a responsible person, then you can click on submit. If he or she is not the responsible person, then you can go to profile, insert your digital signature. Okay, then click on submit. I'll say he or she is a responsible person and I'll click on submit. Once I click on submit, I don't have my DSC right now, so I'll pass my normal KYC validation. Okay, so next step, based upon the PRN number, the detailed information will be fetched. The detailed information like my PRN number, along with that my challan details, along with 3 valid PAN with total amount deposited. I'll just show you. We were talking about form 16. I'll click on bulk form 16, 24Q, quarter 4, request. Okay, I'll enter the captcha, KMPGC, and I'll click on login. So placing the request is always the same. Like I said, if he or she is a responsible person, then click on submit. If he or she is not the responsible person, go to profile, insert your digital signature, then change the information, then come back again and request for form 16. Now I'll pass my normal KYC since I don't have DSC. So since I'm coming from the software, the information is fetched automatically based upon the PRN number, my BSR code, my challan serial number, the challan amount, along with 3 valid PAN in the statement has been displayed. Okay, what I need to do right now is click on proceed, and the final window what comes is proceed with transaction. This I'm not going to click since it's a live database. Once I click on proceed with transaction, I get two files. One is form 16 part A and form 16 part B. So if I go to downloads after a day or time and I come to requested downloads, when I click on view all, you can see the information is displayed here. Form 16 part A, form 16 part B. That is what is been the process which you have seen in the present financial year. So same thing, request and download from traces, both part A and part B is received. Okay, after receiving part A and part B, click on HTTP download. Once I click on HTTP download, a zip file will be generated. And again, to convert these two zip files, there is traces PDF utility. And mind you, this must be done separately. We have two separate converter utility for part A as well as part B. So once when you go to downloads, requested downloads, there you get two separate. If I go to downloads, if I go to requested downloads, I get an option called as click here. In this click here option, we get two separate utilities which must be downloaded and use the same M5K3X. Okay, so we have complete information given here. See, the first is form 16 converter utility, which is part A, which is given right over here, and form 16 part B, traces PDF convert utility, which is given right here. To separately, you need to download these two converter utilities and convert them separately. So this is the process which we all follow. Okay, and that is what it is given here. I am converting both the downloaded zip files of part A and part B separately from our PDF converter utility. After converting them, I can merge part A and part B data. Okay, so this is the procedure which we used to do, which we are doing right now, sorry. And now is I'll show you how the process of generating and merging part A and part B of form 16 from our Saral TDS software. So we have seen the downloads. I have gone through our software. I have clicked on bulk form 16A. I have given the form, I have given the quarter based upon the PRN number. I just clicked on request. It took me back to my traces website. I gave the credentials and I clicked on yes. After that, responsible person, submit, and remaining details the same, submit with transaction. Once I click on submit with transaction, like we already saw in our software, I'll go to traces again, requested downloads. Under requested downloads, I need to click on view all. this is the information which is generated. And again, I'm reminding you all, one simple request is enough. Once I request from our Saral TDS software, two parts will be formed. Two requests will be one request. Once I give one request, I'll get two files available. So here also we requested only once, and I got part A and part B as well. So what I need to do is select the requested file, click on HTTP download. Okay, and you can save it. You can go to desktop, you can create a separate folder for it. I'll click on this, double click on it, and I'll save it here. This is my part B details. I also want my part A details. So I'll click on HTTP download. So I'll save this in the same folder, since already my part B is saved in that folder. I have saved my part A as well. Now what needs to be done? Yes, we have placed a single request. We have the zip files ready with us, and we need to convert that zip file to PDF, and we need to merge those to PDF. Then I need to submit the same to the employees. So for this, what we will do? Okay. Okay, I'll close. So basically, this is what it is. A single request from our Saral TDS software. Since I'm coming to the software, the details are fetched automatically. You're saving time here as well. Based upon the PRN number, one single request. Once if I give single request, both my part A as well as part B will be downloaded. I'm repeating again, only a single request is placed from our software. Based upon the single form 16 request given, two files will be available for downloads. So there is no separately requesting for those two. One single request is enough. Okay, so what I'll do, since my zip file is ready, I'll log out. I will close this. I'll close this as well. It is not required. So next, what we need to see, since the part A and the part B for form 16 is ready, I need to merge these two from our Saral TDS software, and I'll show you the process how it is done. So I'll minimize. I'll come back to our Saral TDS software itself, and I'll click on a file which already the details are given. What I need to do, icon is there, form 16, select form 16, select the part A folder. Okay, so I'll select the part A folder. Already in the desktop, in a separate folder, I've kept training form 16. Select the part A, click on open, and you can launch the traces PDF converter utility. Okay, this is inbuilt in our software, so no need to go to traces, download the traces PDF converter utility. Instead of that, directly you can convert the same in our software. So all the information is fetched. Basically what it is fetching my part A details. That is nothing but my zip file. Okay, I have selected that. Second is my password. Password is nothing but my TAN number, which everything is in capital letter. So BL, and the folder after converting the zip file into PDF, which folder it must go and sit. I need to browse that folder, and I need to see. If I have digital signature, please insert the USB token, and the certificate store, a link will be provided. Select that and click on process. Okay, so my PDF is being generated. So what needs to be done next? Let the PDF be generated. Okay, so the total amount of PDF generated is 38. What needs to be done? I'll click on OK. So once I'll click on OK, I can go to the folder where I have converted it, and I can have a look at it. So I'll just come to show the desktop. Training form 16A is given here. If I double click on it, you can see my part A details are readily available. Okay, so my part A details are readily available. We already saw before what informations were already there. So I'll just scroll down. Since we already gone through this, part A is ready. So next, what needs to be done? Since my part A is already converted, now I need to convert my part B as well. Okay, so for that, what I'll do, I'll close this. I'll come back again to my Saral TDS software. Here, I'll select the part B file which is downloaded. So this is the part B file. I'll select this. I'll click on open. And the same procedure handles here itself. I need to launch traces PDF converter utility. Once I click on traces, the information is fetched automatically. Same thing, the same holds good for both as well. If there's a digital signature, select it, click on proceed. Okay, I'll browse it again, not a problem. I'll browse under desktop. Okay, I'll just select all files. Under that, training form 16 was there. I will select part B. Since we are talking about part B, I'll give the password. That is nothing but my TAN number. F, and the folder where it needs to be saved. If the okay, since no need to insert anything here, I'll show you the insertion of DSC later. First, we'll just convert part A and part B, and I'll click on OK. Same way, how the PDFs are generated for part A, the same way for part B also it will be generated. Okay, so the PDFs are generated. I'll just click on OK. Now what needs to be done? I'll come back to the folder where it is converted. I will come to part B. Okay, it's not here. Okay, this is part A and this is part B. It is saved in this folder only. Okay, so what needs to be done next now? Now, since both the details are available with me, my part A details are available with me, my part B details are also available with me. Next, I'll just go to my Saral TDS. Okay, so I'll select them all first. These are the employees for which the form 16 has been generated. Since this is our training session, I've taken only few of the entries which is given here. So I've selected these many employees. Okay, I'll select them all over here under traces / Saral TDS. What I'll do, select them on and click on start. Okay, so once I click on start, before how it was, just a single folder was there. Okay, now what is showing? It is showing two separate folders, part A as well as part B. So all I need to do is the folder where I have converted the zip file to my PDF, that folder must be linked here. So I'll select this. Okay, form 16 is here. Part A is here. I'll click on OK. Part B, same way I need to do it. Okay, so this information has been displayed. So basically what it is, I have just given the information, I have just given the link from where it needs to be shown. So part A is available, part B also. From this particular financial year, from 18-19 financial year onwards, part A and part B, both the details are got from traces. So part B details, salary details are only derived directly from traces, so no changes can be done here. So before we can do some changes and we can use to merge them, but this option is not available right now. So what we do is directly we request, we have both part A as well as part B here. Okay, so I will minimize it. I'll click on merge. So basically what has happened, since I'm talking about our form 16, 3 PDFs are generated because these 3 employee details I have entered. And since separately I have entered, separately download as done for part A and part B. Okay, we are going to merge those two. If you want any of the information to be displayed before merging, there's an option called as 12BA, statement of perquisites. If you want to show annexure details, or if there is any covering letter which you also want to display, just select them, click on start. The procedure remains the same. Select the part A, this is the part B. Select the part B for the which we have converted and we have kept, and select the part A, click on OK. So once again, when I click on merge, the complete information is merged. So the part A information is also got. The part B information is also directly fetched from the traces. If I scroll down, you can see the part A. Now if I scroll down a little bit, part B information is also provided. So this is how we merge part A and part B. And the same can be mailed to the employee as well. So if I select on any other employee, and the merging is done. Okay. So for this employee, you can see house rent allowances also is given. If there's any perk visits, yes. If there's any ATD, yes, he's taken insurance as well. Perk visits, if he's taken, the amount will be displayed here. If not. Okay, so this was about the procedure of Form 16, the new procedure which they have introduced. So this session was based upon that.